In this video, we're going to show you two simple methods for carving a rose. The first method then we're going to show you is the full rose, and as you can see, the first stage we go through where with this one we actually mark it out on the wood itself. The second method that I'm going to show you is I do that more sort of freehand. So the way we go about doing this, for anybody who hasn't had a go at doing this before, we're going to do all of our stop cuts, and the way I hand carve a rose, we build it up as all sorts of different layers. This is a method then that we have done sort of more in recent times, because originally the other method we've always sort of used for the rose, but that's actually then the other method we're going to use is the Tudor Rose. So we start doing our stop cuts down into the wood like so, and I'm going to do all of the stop cuts. The wood then, for anyone who's interested in this, it's a piece of yew, and the reason that we've chosen a piece of yew for this love spoon is because the person who selected it, they like the idea, because some people do say that yew is unlucky and things like that. But the message, the sort of message in this piece of wood, the reason we've used it is because yew is known as the eternal tree. As we mentioned previously, a flower on a love spoon could be used to represent the idea that you hope that love will blossom. So in this example, as I mentioned, the method I'm going to use, we're going to do all of our stop cuts first of all, get that all marked up, and then we're going to sort of create different layers, and that's how we're going to create the effect then of the petals, is by sort of layering them all up against one another. So we're going to use those stop cuts to create layers. So I'll show you what I mean by that. So where we've marked out, for example, where we've marked out the stop cut just at the bottom here, I'll just finish marking that one. So what we're going to do, we're going to use the gouge just to cut into that stop cut. And you can see that beautiful orange wood of the heartwood of the yew. You can see that just coming through as we start to cut that out. I like using woods that have got a lot of colour and a lot of character to them, because in some ways it helps you out with the carving, because the main feature then of the carving is the beautiful wood. So it takes the pressure off the wood carver in some ways, because hopefully people's attention will be more on that beautiful wood as opposed to what the wood carving looks like. But there we go. You can just see on that bottom leaf how we've used the stop cuts, and it just creates an effect of a petal, and that petal sort of going underneath the other layers, which will be made up of the other petals. There we are, just into the edge like so. And this one here, that's a bit more of a pointy leaf we're going to have on there. In terms of anybody who's going to have a go at then doing this method themselves, what you can sort of do is have a little look around, have a look online, or if you're a bit of an artist, draw it out yourself. Get an image of a rose that you like and that you're happy with, and then have a go at carving it. So what we're going to do now then, we're going to speed things up on the camera, so you'll be able to see quickly how we've built up all of those layers and how we do our first method of hand carving a rose. So as we're coming to the end of this carving here, just to recap on the method that we use to hand carve a rose, we do all of our stop cuts down into the wood, and then you sort of use those stop cuts, same as with all wood carving really, you're using them as a barrier, and then we just sort of build it up in layers to create the effect then of petals. So to create that effect of lots of little petals building up. There's a little bit of a sort of a circle in the middle, and then you can also use the reverse angle of the gouge just to bring out a little bit of detail, and that's basically it. That's how we carve a rose. We're going to move on now, and we're going to show you how we hand carve the Tudor Rose. So that's the next little part to this video. So moving on from our first method for carving a rose, we've got our second method. This is actually the simpler of the two methods, and the one that we sort of we'd have used originally here at the workshop. We've started using the other rose in more recent times because it's popular and it's a nice carving. But this one here would have been a simpler one that I would have learned how to carve quite early on, and it's the Tudor Rose. And the reason we carve it is that here in Pembrokeshire, it's actually the emblem for the county of Pembrokeshire. So to do that, we've shown you before how we carve a simple flower. To turn it into a Tudor Rose, all you have to do is like a modified flower. So the first difference between our simple flower and this Tudor Rose is you turn it upside down. So instead of starting with the petal at the top, we've actually got two petals at the top, or as you're looking on the camera, at the bottom. And the single petal for me at the bottom, for yourselves at the top. To turn it into a Tudor Rose, we've got to make sure, turns out, we've got to make sure that we get the correct gouge. Let's have a look. I think it is, where is it? Shows I haven't carved the Tudor Rose for a little while, but there we are. There we are. What we do, you do some points on it. As you can see, this is a much more simple method than doing the rose, but depending on your needs, depending on your ability level, depending on your time, your project. I think that one there's just popped a little bit, so we'll demonstrate what you can do if that happens. Yeah, you can use either the Tudor Rose or the standard rose. So we've done the stop cuts, just a little bit of detail in a simple way, just into the edge of the petals. The wood we're using as well, for anyone who's interested, is quite a soft piece of mahogany. That's why it's carving so easily. Not the best, a bit too soft. That's why that one little point has actually popped out. This one here, there you go. I'll show you how you can sort that out. We're just going to go around all the others and match it to it, basically. There we are. Turn it round the other way. Same again. Cut into the edges where you've done your stop cuts, just like so. Taking a little bit of detail out and 2, 3, 4, 5, and on the tops of those petals as well. There we go. And a little bit more in the middle. And so that is a second method that you can use for carving a different type of rose. Now where that petal, where that little pointer's popped out, we demonstrated this before. All you need to do to correct that, just go round the other petals, just carve them deeper into the wood. Reason it's gone, yes, a little bit of a mistake on my part, but it's also, as we mentioned, it's not the best piece of mahogany for hand carving. So we just carve those back down like so, redo the points. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. There we are. And that's another method for doing a simple rose. There we are. I hope that's useful for anybody who's looking to carve a rose. As always, put any comments, any questions in the comments section below. If you like what we've done, put a little like. Remember to subscribe and ring that bell. And as always, we'll be back again soon with more videos. Thank you all again for watching.